So, you want to wash your bike. Your bike is dirty. Having a dirty bike is bad. You know why? Because dirty bikes wear out a lot faster. Componentry wears, chains wear, chainrings wear, you name it. But first step doesn't start in the garage. First step starts in the kitchen. Dish soap. Bucket. Get some nice hot sudsy water in there. That looks pretty good. Bike stands make life easier, but they're not a necessity. You can just lean your bike up against the car or against the wall, as long as you can turn your pedals without any obstruction. Get the trusty tool bag, the lube, soft bristled brush, very important. Another nail brush, very important. Rags, very important. Toss the rags in the bucket. Should probably put the tool bag somewhere dry. Degreaser, more degreaser. Hose. Two different types of degreaser that I use personally. This one is a citrus degreaser. You can buy it at Canadian Tire as a concentrated formula. It's just that like 1 gallon jug of super concentrated citrus degreaser, and you just water it down like 2 or 3 to 1. Simple Green, you can also buy that at Canadian Tire. It's biodegradable, but I find that it evaporates a little bit quicker, and if you're kind of leaving the degreaser on for a while, it's not as effective as the citrus one. So, cleaning your chain. Here's what I like to do. I like to have it in the big chain ring and in a middle cog in the back. Cleaning your chain. Take your degreaser, spray it on the chain. This one's getting a little bit low. There we go. Spray it on the chain, get good coverage on it. There you go. See how it's kind of all nice and frothy there? That's good. Then you take your brush, soft nail brush. You can use your brother's or sister's toothbrush too. I'm sure they don't mind. Maybe parents too if you're feeling bold. Yeah, anything with nice long soft bristles so that it can get in between both between the two face plates and between the rollers. It's not just it's not just enough to clean the faces of the chain. You also have to get inside it, because that's where all the wear and tear takes place. So as I clean it, I'm basically backpedaling at a slow speed, and I'm pushing up with the brush so that I get a little bit of pressure onto it, so the bristles get in there, and I move it back and forth as I pedal. That way I get good good coverage, and it's a little bit easier, I find. There's the bottom done. Flip it over, do the top. I find pushing up and down with this one works a little bit easier. Kind of varies the pressure a bit. Cleaning the face plates of the chain. Now this comes in handy when you already have it in your big chain ring. Just take your brush, scrub back and forth as you pedal. That way it'll clean both the front face plate of the chain, and the back face plate's a little bit hard to get to. So just flip the brush around, do the same thing on the back side. And we take our trusty hose, rinse it all off. Get a little bit of a back pedal as we do it. It's important that when you use the hose, when you're going to rinse off your bike, don't have it on the jet setting, and so that way you could kind of, you know, shoot high pressure water into bearings and stuff, and they don't really like that. So right away you can already tell that chain is a whole lot cleaner. Almost looks like new. All I have to do now is do the derailleur pulleys and the cassette. Then I'll start cleaning the frame. One thing that happens is as the chain picks up gunk, it'll deposit onto the derailleur. There, you can see there on my finger. You get a little bit of grit and grime. Rain starts to pick up a little bit more. So what I usually do is I just spray it a little bit on the brush, give it a quick run down on each side, both top and bottom pulleys, inside and outside. Again, backpedaling. There we go. Again, take the hose, give it a quick rinse off, front and back. Good. Now, cleaning wheels. This is what I personally do. I like to take the wheels off before I clean the cassette. So I take both the front and rear wheel off. However, what they don't know won't hurt them. Right. This one isn't too bad, so I'm just going to use the Simple Green. Spray it on there. Perfect. Take your handy dandy brush. You just use the ratcheting to your advantage, so as you push down, it moves down, and as you pull up, you get good cleaning action. You can see all the gunk and stuff kind of melding off as I work it. Take the hose again, rinse it all off. That's pretty good. Put the wheel aside. Now, cleaning the frame. It's easy to do. Roll up your sleeves a bit. Get yourself a nice washcloth. I personally like to use a washcloth instead of a brush because I'm kind of a sucker for a tactile feel. Because this way I get to manually inspect the frame with my hand as I clean it. So I get two things done at once. So if anything is like seriously wrong, I'll be able to tell. Now we take the hose and we rinse it off, working from the top down. Right, cleaning the wheels time. Cleaning your wheels is important because, well, they both help you stop and keep you from falling. One thing you'll notice is after a wet ride, your brake track right here will be fairly black. You really want to get that nice and clean. It'll extend the life of your rim significantly, as well as your brake pads. Again, just take the washcloth, give it a quick once over, on the rim, trying to get in between the spokes as well if you can. Flip it over. Do the same on the other side. Set it aside. Grab the other wheel. Doing the same to it. Flipping it over. Right, nice and clean. Now we take the hose and again, top down, rinse it off. I like to give it a bang dry just to get as much excess water off as I can. There we go. Right, so bike reassembly. It's probably a good idea to put it on the ground to do this. However, pull straight up. You get the wheel in there. You can kind of check. See, that's off center right now. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the bike out of the stand and I'm going to place the fork on the ground and push down with my chest on the seat. What this does is it gives a good even pressure onto the wheel so that it sits in the dropout squarely. If your wheel's not in the dropout squarely, you'll get problems with your shifting as well as brake rub. There, you can kind of, you might have heard that little pop. So it popped into place. Pop it back into the stand. I'm not one for hand drying bikes. I'm a little bit lazy with the chain and whatnot. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna give a couple fairly quick back spins in its biggest gear. And what that's gonna do is the centrifugal force is just gonna whip the water off, most of the water off rather. We've washed the chain, washed the cassette, washed the chain rings. We've washed the derailleur pulleys. We've washed the frame. I missed a spot. All that's left to do now is re-lube the chain. Again, middle of the cassette in the back. Big ring or little ring, it doesn't really matter. Take your chain lube. I recommend using a wet lube instead of a dry lube. I can show you what a dry lube looks like. A dry lube is wax based and it's in a solvent that evaporates. That's okay for really dry weather, but a wet chain lube will last a little bit longer and it will serve you better in more conditions like wet stuff. This lube has lasted me about 4 years. So it doesn't take much. So I'm gonna, if you're really OCD, you can find like the pin where the chain is joined together and just kind of, I usually like to do between 3 and 4 backstrokes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep back pedaling to help it soak in.